What's up guys, Danchi here from Southpaw Malaysia and welcome to another episode of Fight News. We got quite a bit going on today and today I'm going a little bit off script. Usually I have, things written down, but I think I've been present in like the majority of the events that's been going on this past month and a half. So yeah, lots of things. We usually want to do our Fight News once a month, but obviously it's not really possible because there's an influx of events going on within a month and a half period, and then after that it just goes silent for quite a while. But hopefully we can get to the point where I can make Fight News on a monthly basis. But even so, there's a lot of things that happened in the past month and a half, and here are the news for you. Now, the first news that I'm going to address is the new board members for Malaysian MMA Association. Right there. Yeah, right there. For Malaysian MMA Association, we have a new president, new deputy president, new vice president, new secretary, new treasurer. We have completely new directors and committee members. So some people may know this, but I am a part of Malaysian MMA Association. And yeah, so I want to give my congratulations to Alvin Chong for being the new president for Malaysian MMA Association. Hopefully Alvin Chong can bring a lot of benefit to the Malaysian MMA scene as a whole, as well as the new deputy president, Andy Tay, and honestly, Andy Tay can do a lot for the Malaysian MMA Association. Malaysian MMA in general, with his kind of exposure, with his kind of help, with the things that he's done, I believe in Andy Tay. So yeah. So it's no real news to the people who know me personally that I am in support of Malaysian MMA. So all I want is for this scene to grow, and that's why Southpaw Malaysia exists in the very first place. Our job here is to try to give as much exposure as we can, and we are getting there to a certain point. So that is it, guys. That is the first news for today. So next bit of news is Malaysian Fight League. We're going to go down chronologically now. We're going to go with Malaysian Fight League first. And they've had a pretty good event, but I think they had issues with like fighters and not weighing in correctly. You can watch our Malaysian Fight League event recap for more details about that. We went into quite a bit of details about the lack of professionalism of independent fighters or people who are new. But look, again, if I were to speak for them, I would say like we all understand that independent fighters, new guys, that everybody wants to fight, and people are slowly trying to get into competitions here. But of course, there needs to be a certain level of professionalism for everybody. So you gotta be on time, gotta make weight. These are the two things that's very important if you want to be a fighter. But if you want to know in great detail, we went into it. You can go check out the Malaysian Fight League event recap that we did. Malaysian Fight League will be hosting their next event over on the 9th of September. You guys can get your registrations up there. There's plenty of time for you to register. And yeah, just go ahead, get yourself competing, and don't forget to make weight, and don't forget to get there on time. Very important. In the next bit of news, Spectre Promotions, boxing promotion, just had their second event for this year. Yes, after the Future, now it's called The Void. And then they have their finale coming up later on towards the end of the year. Date is to be confirmed. But either way, the recent event was spectacular, as usual. Spectre doing Spectre things, the way Ijam liked to do his show. And you guys can check out a behind-the-scenes documentary with Spectre. You really get to know the point of view from the organizer, so you can kind of see me going along with Ijam. But it's not that long of a documentary, let's just put it about like 15 minutes like that, so you guys can check out what actually happens behind the scenes and how he kind of put the pieces all together, and the reason why he came up with Spectre, and the reason why he wants to push the sport of boxing forward in Malaysia. So you guys can check out that video if you want to learn more about Spectre, The Void, and Spectre in general, and Ijam as a person. Spectre next event, again, the date will be confirmed later on. That's about it. Next up, we're going to speak about is F3. F3 had their event recently over in close around Batu Caves, I think. It's near Gombak area there. I forgot the exact location of F3's event, but they did have an event. F3 stands for Freestyle Full Contact Fighting Championship. We did an event recap with the owner, Mr. Marzuki Ismail himself. I managed to get some time to speak to him. I mean, personally, I already understand what F3 is all about, but of course, like a lot of people don't really understand why he came up with the rule set of freestyle. F3 is a organization where they have mixed martial arts, boxing, and freestyle, and he did touch on the reasons why he came up with certain rule sets and why he likes to push for the sport of freestyle, which I think it's a rule set that he made early, within like several years ago. Yeah, quite long already, he's made the rule set of freestyle. So you guys can check out that video if you would like to know more from the man himself, Mr. Marzuki Ismail, for details. And he has details of how he's going to further the sport of mixed martial arts in Malaysia itself through F3. So if you guys want to know more, do check it out over there. F3's next event, that if you want to get involved in boxing, freestyle or MMA, that would be on early September. You can check out on their Facebook for more details. Next up, we have Ultimate Beatdown. Yes, Ultimate Beatdown. One of my favorite organizations to work for. Another hectic event, another late night event. But we have a new champion for one of their Super 4 series for lightweight this time. They had a championship for kickboxing. I wish I had the time to actually speak to Melvin about the reasons why he pushes for all these kinds of championships. It's really nice to see that he can really make these tournaments, or like short-term tournaments. But at the same time, he's also holding a Super 8 boxing tournament that's within the span of 3 weeks. He had the quarterfinals, which is on the 5th of August. And then the semi-finals will be in Kulai on the 19th of August. And then the finals would be early September as well for the 8-man boxing tournament. So yeah, it's really great to see Ultimate Beatdown making all these kinds of tournaments available for a chance to people to win belts. Belts go into your resume. Of course, that will be easier for you to transition into the professional scene, where if you do want to get into the professional scene. So yeah, having belts is important. Again, I wish I could have time to speak to Melvin, but we finished the event so late that I never get the opportunity to get to speak one-on-one with the man himself that brings Ultimate Beatdown for his details, or like his opinions, or his intentions of developments for especially the sport of MMA. Yeah, because Ultimate Beatdown ultimately had 16 total MMA bouts for the recent UB show. And that's great. That's a very healthy number, and it's really nice to see so many people get involved. But of course, I think there was quite a number of pullouts in general, but pullouts are quite the custom in Ultimate Beatdown anyway. Great event as per usual, and if you guys enjoyed the live stream, yeah, you're welcome. Ultimate Beatdown's next event will be on the 19th of August in Aeon Kulai. So yeah, if you're gonna be there, I'm actually gonna be there. Hopefully this time I get to speak one-on-one with Melvin, so that'll be nice. One last bit of fight news that's going to be happening is on the 2nd of September is the return of Any Martial Arts. Finally, they have an event lined up for us. So kickboxing event for AMA on the 2nd of September. I think the location will be in Lala Port, if I'm not wrong. And of course, the biggest one for AMA is the fact that they are giving out quite a handsome reward for champions this time around. So that means fighters in their Any Martial Arts Kickboxing League, the top 4 will be able to fight for the championship belt, and then the belt, the person who actually wins the belt gets a grand reward of 8,000 ringgit. On top of that, this one I'm not too sure about. I mean, they did write down, but it seems like it might be guaranteed, but they will be getting a 30,000 ringgit professional contract with AMA. Now, I've had spoken to the big boss, Edison himself, about his future plans with Any Martial Arts and how he's going to bring in professional people to fight in Malaysia and try to bring the professional scene in Malaysia. Very unclear about how is he going to do it, but this contract that he's kind of like introducing to people could be the start of it. So vague information from me, and I apologize for this, but yeah, I think more to come as the events just goes on, and we'll get more details when we can speak to Edison very, very soon about any martial arts. Last bit of fight news, we have some new Jiu-Jitsu competitions coming up in Malaysia very soon in the name of ASJJF. ASJJF is coming to Malaysia very, very soon for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with different kind of rule sets that I'm not familiar with. I mean, IBJJF also I'm not really familiar with. So if people are interested or keen into competing in the ASJJF rule set, registrations are open and you can compete in November. And the same guys who are bringing ASJJF are introducing ADCC rule sets as well that is going to be available in on March. So yeah, new guys coming in to make different, to kind of bring, I guess, to quote unquote spice things around in the jiu-jitsu world. Unfortunately, me myself, I'm not that close to the jiu-jitsu side of Malaysian combat sport, but I think it is important for me to mention that things like this are coming to Malaysia on top. So, but other than that, if you guys want to compete in jiu-jitsu, just a short one just for this fight news, of course, we already have the established Malaysian Grappling League and of course, Copa de Malaysia. These are two common places that I think a lot of you guys, that if you are in jiu-jitsu background, should have already known about these two competitions and you can choose where you want to compete. But yeah, two more new guys are coming down and bringing presence in the jiu-jitsu world towards the end of the year and as well as next year. I think they got quite a few events preparing for next year as well. So quite the hefty news there for the Malaysian jiu-jitsu scene. So that's really good. Now comes the last bit of the news. Quite a number of you guys already know about these. Okay, these are Southpaw MMA gloves. I think if you guys show up to any of the events and you see me around, most likely I will have quite a number of these in my car. So if you want to buy some of them, you can just drop me a message. Hey, I'm at this event. Are you guys around? I want to get myself a pair of gloves. It's 100 ringgit if you want them. Okay? These are I would call it the first variation. The first variation of gloves. I think it's still got about like 40 pairs left. The feedback that I've got from some of my friends that actually did buy this is that it's really good for sparring. It's super well padded over here. It's very hard to hurt your friends if you're gonna do MMA sparring. Although the curve design here makes it a bit harder to perform grappling with it, but yeah, it is entirely made for amateur MMA setting thicker side here. So it's really safe. It's almost, I think it's about 8 ounces, almost the size of a 10 ounce MMA gloves. So super safe for you to use this for training, and this is supposed to be used for sparring. So if you have one of these, if you already have one of these, yeah, I hope you're using it a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying it. But if you haven't got one, drop me a DM if you're in Klang Valley. We can work something out, maybe through Lalamove or through Grab or something. But if you're gonna be in Johor or Penang or from any part of Malaysia, if you're gonna be competing in said competitions like Malaysian Fight League, Malaysian Grappling League, or Ultimate Beatdown, I'll be mostly in these events or any martial arts. Just come on down and hit me up if you guys want a pair. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get all of this sold off so that I can start beginning my production for the second generation of Southpaw MMA gloves. And that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Fight News. Quite the hefty one. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe onto the YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on our TikTok as well. TikTok is just a bunch of spam of reels. Same as our Instagram as well. It's just a spam of reels. But Instagram, we do have updates for like future events. We'll pin those up on our Instagram. Thank you so much. I'm Danchi from Southpaw Malaysia. Catch you guys until next time.